And good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Had a brain fart for a second. Konnichiwa, Ohio, or konbawa for everybody that is listening to this. You are now listening to Wisdom with West. And anybody that's watching this again, you are now seeing me in my studio where I used to make music and talk about some rambunctious shit. But now we're just talking about life and everything. So today's episode includes anime and their life lessons. Oh god, we're gonna be talking about anime. Yes, we are. Anime is one of those genres that has started to take off in popularity in the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years. Anime wasn't really a big popular thing when I was growing up. You actually got made fun of for watching anime. You got called a nerd, a dweeb, probably got shoved down into the dirt. Then you had to stand up to the bully and fight him, and then you get your ass kicked, but you still get respect out of it. That's not talking from personal experience. I'm not saying. So today's life lesson in anime would be just talking about how some of the messages and the complex stories in anime that make it so great. And one of the big things of anime that I think gets people's attention is how, at least in the genre of shonen, which is aimed for mostly young kids, about roughly like 8 to 12 years old, how the protagonist is one of those characters who, despite any and all odds, is someone that believes very strongly in their dreams or the goals that they have set aside for them. For all my people who watch Naruto out there, or Naruto, our boy, he dreamed of being the Hokage, which is aka the strongest ninja in their village and the leader. Now this boy was demonized, was outcast, and had everything up against him for him to not do that. And despite any and all odds, he did not give up on his dreams, which is something that, if you have big goals, you can attest to that. Some dreams also include, like in the anime or the manga Berserk, Sir Griffith, aka Mr. He did everything wrong, but we're not going to talk about that. I still think it's all right, but not for what he did to Casca. But in other words, our boy Griffith, he was also someone that he was more of an antagonist, spoilers by the way, but he was more of the type where takes place in about medieval times, and anybody that knows their history knows that during the medieval times, you had to be a certain class in order to become someone, a noble, a knight, a king, an earl, or whatever. And our boy Griffith had big dreams of getting his own kingdom. Now this is something that it's completely unheard of, especially for Middle Age times, where if a peasant rises up to the ranks of nobility and also acquires his own kingdom, that's unheard of. And a lot of people would say you have way too big of a dream. But that's not the case. Our boy had to make some sacrifices, and unfortunately those sacrifices came at the blood of his army, that he was able to get one step closer to his dream. And which also brings up another interesting point in what makes anime so great, is that there are some characters in there that walk on the path of revenge or on the path of darkness. And as someone that can personally attest to this, walking in the path of darkness and revenge is never the best thing that anybody could do. Sure, it's a great fire, it's a great motivation, and you can use it for fuel in order to get your desires accomplished. But if we learned anything from anime and learned from a few characters like Sasuke Uchiha, that walking in the path of revenge is It's a great motivator, but at the end, after you get your set goal accomplished of seeking revenge, you're left empty. And that emptiness can leave you confused. Another good anime that follows something that very similar is Vinland Saga. Our main character, Thorfinn, he witnessed his father get killed, spoiler alert, and in that he joined the mercenary camp in the person that actually killed his father and seeks of revenge. And spoiler alert, he didn't acquire his revenge. The man that killed his father ended up dying, and once that man died, he was left empty, very empty and just broken. So that just goes to show you that walking on the path of revenge is never the best thing that anybody could do as well. Sure, it's good to have goals and aspirations, but at the same time, if it's something that's consuming you to the point of destruction, then that's never the answer. Another example of that would be our boy Guts from Berserk. He witnessed all of his close comrades get murdered by demons, and he went on a hell-bent revenge against demonkind, and it wasn't until it was too late, again spoiler alert, that he realized he shouldn't have went on this quest of revenge. He left behind the two people that survived this. They were left broken and damaged, and Guts's blacksmith, who fixed his sword, said something very interesting, where it was, you are in the midst of your battles, you chose to be alone when other people needed you, and you're like a sword, you're like a broken sword with nicks and bloodstains and no sheath. So something like that it hits a little hard. So in this little short summary of anime and their life lessons that they can teach us is that hard work will always pay off. If you look at Rock Lee from Naruto, he's another character that all he could do is just throw straight hands. He could do just straight hands. Everybody got all these crazy jutsus, whatever. And our boy can just throw hands. That's all he could do. He can just throw hands. And he is one of the hardest workers of that show. Black Clover is another good example of that. Our main character, Asta. In a world where everybody's born with magic, this is the one kid who aspires to be the king, the wizard king, and doesn't have any type of magic whatsoever. So it goes into the niche of having big dreams and having dreams that may seem impossible is something that you can strive for. You can strive for it, and don't let anybody tell you that your dreams are too small. If they think that your dreams are too small, maybe they're just not thinking big enough. Or if anybody says that your dreams are too big, and vice versa, they're just thinking too small. That's all it is. So today's little life lesson would be just watch some anime. Just watch some anime. It'll be good. It'll be good as a nice little motivator. And just remember that seeking big goals is not a horrible thing for you, especially if you have goals and aspirations where you personally see yourself going to another place. Then go for it. Who's to stop you? Just yourself. That's all it is. Only you can hold yourself back with whatever it is that you want to do. And remember that walking down the path of revenge will never lead you anywhere but self-destruction, and it will leave you empty and broken. Take it from me, as someone that wanted to live this path of revenge and seek vengeance on anybody that did me wrong. All it did was just hurt me and just left me empty at the end. So that wraps it about up. And this is Wisdom with West. Sayonara.